ringing. Perry and I think they are getting on right now. So, John, you will be talking to them for the next 25 minutes. This is a 25-minute session. And so, it's, as we mentioned yesterday, John and I, around that time every year, like beginning of January, we have taken a trip to England for the Motorsports show organized by our good friend Tony Tobias, and so we won't be going this year, unfortunately. But that's always a great pleasure to travel in England and see all the great companies out there. And so this is a perfect example of a great company. I personally have known Perry, for many years. I've seen him grow his business from being a single consultant to owning two great organizations now and taking over the world. so we're absolutely very happy to have you on. Then again, a big thank you for each and everyone out there watching us. Registration is open for the full week. Okay, so please, invite your industry friends or colleagues. All they need to do is log in into the Zoom webinar. We are live for 55 hours, pretty much, 12 hours a day on the California time. It is 10 a.m. almost here in California. It's probably 6 p.m. if I'm correct in England, right, Perry? Is that what it is?
Yep, exactly 6 p.m.
Well, it's time. It's happy hour there. It's usually guys are not in the club right now. But I heard everything is closed. So are you in quarantine right now too as well?
Yeah, you can work. You can go to work. But you can't go to the pub. All pubs are closed.
It's very unfortunate. That's one of our favorite things to do when John and I go to England. No, but it's a wonderful country you're in, and middle of the Motorsport Valley as well. Tomorrow we're going to have our good friend Chris Elliott from the MIA, who's going to be one of our panelists. He's bringing with him Alan Gore from the BTCC, like Mr. British Touring Car Championship, Malcolm Wilson from the Ford Rally team, Duncan from the historic series. So this is great, and we're delighted to have you. We'll wait another minute or so before, because we start right on the hour. So again, if you're watching us, go on EPARTRADE.com. You can find DSPS there, their products they're going to be talking about. You can find Total Sales products that we just had a session with, as well as IBAC and everybody yesterday, from Turn 14 Distribution to Stand 21 to Hara Enterprises and everybody in between. So full week of tech webinars back to back, product introduction on the EPARTRADE platform 24/7. And so again, thank you for all of you for watching us from around the world. 110 countries represented in our attendance, which is absolutely astonishing. And so thank you very much. John, on to you.
Okay, thank you, Francisque. And as you mentioned, our international presence, it's really great to follow the chat questions. And one comes from Italy, one comes from Ireland, one comes from another country. So this is really an amazing experience for me, a new experience for all of us. Welcome to the webinar, Quality Driven Performance, the story of DSP Engineering Wastegates and Anti-Lag Valves with DSPS Engineering. Perry Cohn, owner, and Phil Danbury, shop manager. And this is how DSPS describes themselves on their showcase in EPARTRADE, which is really a well built out showcase. And our showcases are kind of like trade show exhibits. So make sure that's part of your online race industry experience. That's where the new products are for 2021. So DSPS Engineering produces wastegates and fresh air valves for the highest echelons of motorsports. Quality-driven performance is our philosophy. DSPS products continually compete on the international stage, having won races and championships in IndyCar, DTM, WRC, WRX, WT, CC, SGT, WEC, GT2, GT3, all products designed and used by racers And this is a very interesting company to me because they're producing these products just for the highest echelons of motorsports. So this is pretty strictly a racing technology company. We're glad that they're here. And then I'll be looking for questions from the audience. So we have a very sophisticated industry audience. Race engine builders are out there. Professional race teams are out there. Just use the chat option at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Type in your questions, and I'll check those out and throw those at Perry, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, Perry, I'll throw it over to you. What do we do next?
Thank you, John. It's great to see everybody, even though virtually. I'm Perry. This is Phil, and the two of us do the best we can to compete at the highest level. I'm going to try and share my screen, if that's all right. Let me know if you can see this. Okay. Can everyone see that? Can you see that, John?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Okay. We're going to start with the quotation because we always do. And the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. And, that's from Henry Ford, who's kind of the forefather of everything we do. Now, we are where we are. We're obsessed by quality because of our first and hugest failure. We're going to go for a little time travel, guys. So can anyone tell me what year we are? Okay, it's 1985, okay, in Long Beach, California. Start of the IndyCar season of the March 85C. Now, you remember Adrian Newey, he always designed amazing aero surfaces, but never left any space for anything. So Alan Mertens of Garmin, later of Garmin Engineering, and David Williamson were tasked with building a wastegate. And they fitted a wastegate into tiny, tiny space, and it was a disaster. Every single Cosworth-powered car that had a Williamson wastegate failed during practice for, the Long Beach Grand Prix, 1985. I mean, the worst thing you can ever do is stop a car. And that day they stopped every single one with a Williamson wastegate. And the reason was the membrane. The membrane failed. It wasn't up to the job. Anyway, they bolted on, the original wastegate, which was a very heavy cast iron affair. And they survived the race, and the March, in fact, won the race. However, we learned from that, and ever since then, quality has been the watchword, and nothing is ever compromised in the search for quality, because to finish first you have to finish. So you got to understand, we started from a point of failure, and that's kind of snapping at our heels all the time. You don't want to stop a car. You can have as many failures in the workshop as you want, but never on the circuit. So why? What makes our products so much better? What drives us? All our castings. I'm going to put a little pointer on here. All of our castings for wastegates are Inconel, every single one of them. The valves that we use are always forged from mnemonic 80. The membranes, remember that was the bit that failed. And the reason we came to a solution was, I don't know if any of you remember Johnny Caples. We're going back in history here. He devised or managed to produce a membrane in a couple of weeks in time for the next race. Ever since then, the membranes we use have been manufactured in the US, and they're all high temperature, reinforced with Nomex. And as I say, proud of the fact that they're manufactured there, and we've never had a race failure. All of the components we use are machined from billets. The batch controlled, we keep records. And all of our components, K-nuts, all the studs and so on are rolled. So everything is torqued, and every assembly has an individual life number, which you can see on the top here. So we know who built the wastegate, we know when it left the company, and we know if you ask us, we can tell you, when the billets came, when the material came out the ground. So it's kind of a full aerospace spec. Everything is inspected, and our inspector was trained in the Royal Air Force. So everything he applies to his trade is absolutely fastidious and to the point. Obsessive, really, but hey, who's complaining? Over the years, we've produced a lot of stuff, but it all started after 1985. In 1986, the DW1 wastegate. I don't know whether it's pride or not, but the casting, the main casting used in the DW1 wastegate is the same one as used in 1986. It's been that successful for us. So the DW1 was the Dave Williamson one. It's a 2-inch wastegate, 50 millimeters. It started in 1985 at Indy, was used in Le Mans, and versions have been used in DTM, winning the DTM championship a couple of times. Super GT in Japan, once again winning the championship, and it's been used all over the world in rallycross. So you can see at one of the bottom pictures is, I say it is our most popular wastegate, and there are loads in stock. On the bottom right-hand side, we have a springless wastegate, but you can see the casting is still the same. And on the top right is an IndyCar wastegate, but the casting is that good old-fashioned DW1. It's brilliant. It's bulletproof. The company rides on it, to be perfectly honest. The other main size of wastegate we do is a GT3 wastegate, a 1.5 inch or 38 millimeters. And this cut its teeth in the WRC, World Rally Championship. It then went on to win a World Championship numerous times in the WTCC with Honda. And it's also won the GT3 Championship at Le Mans with a Ferrari engine. The pictures here, you can see there are 2 of these wastegates on the GT3 engine. It's beautifully packaged. And over here, you can see, also one on each side. And as with the DW1 wastegate, we have many derivations of this. So this is our LW, lightweight wastegate, where we try to take a little bit of weight out. It's used all over the world. We try to make our products as bulletproof as possible. Once again, it's this paranoia about a failure during the race. Our anti-lag valves came on stream probably in the early 2000s. Once again, we're trying to keep up with technology, give everyone the competitive advantage. Now, they were originally sized for touring cars and rally cars, and they're now used in ALMS by a leading OEM and WTCC as has. Now they're used a lot in rallycross, and we are changing with the times as we need to in racing, and we're going to try and improve our range and increase flow through the ALS anti-lag valve to try and keep pace with demands. As turbos are getting bigger, the airflow required to keep them spinning is increasing too, which is where we're going. We do a lot of bespoke products, a lot of castings we can make to order. But this particular casting that you can see in the middle there, that appears on many IndyCar exhaust systems at the moment, and it is the basis for quite a few components. So all our valves, as we say, the basic valve is a forged mnemonic component. We can adapt them to suit whatever your requirement is, and machined components. We have products off the shelf, which is great. You order one, you take it off the shelf and you dispatch it. Or many OEMs have particular requirements, so we can change things to suit their requirements. Welding. Well, we used to do a lot of welding. It used to be TIG welding. It used to be, it was always good, but the appearance wasn't that brilliant. When we discovered recently, or 2 or 3 years ago, we discovered electron beam welding, which we now use for all of our, wherever welding is required. And you can see the weld along here. You can see the weld in this area over here. And everything is done by a shop up the road. That sounds, you know, like they're a small operation. Their day job, as it were, is welding components for satellites and nuclear reactors. So we reckon they're pretty good at what they do. And everything is to AS 9100D. And because all of our components are in effect pressure vessels, everything is helium leak detection down to a vacuum of 10 bar. So we're pretty happy. If they say it's okay, then it is okay. And we haven't had a failure yet in the competition. Not that we're hoping for one, but we're very confident and we stand by what we do. We've spoken a lot about the past. The thing with racing is if you stand still, you're going backwards. So we're always looking for the next product, the next thing. As I said, we're looking at a larger anti-lag valve. So we've gone up from, say, 1.25 inches, which is our current anti-lag valve, to 1 3/4 inches, 1.5 to 1 3/4. And we're going to have both the sort of manual version, classically controlled, and we're also going to have one controlled by solenoid valves. This is in response to requests by customers. At the end of the day, it's all very well us producing what we want to produce, but since the end users are the end users, we might as well produce what they want to use. So hence the push towards these larger anti-lag valves, and they will be available towards the end of January. And then we also produced a water-cooled wastegate, which has applications. Once again, it's a derivation of the DW1 wastegate, but has superior heat insulation and water-cooled valve guide housing. And this is both for competition use and for use on road cars or hypercars. There is a hypercar manufacturer. It claims to have the most powerful hypercar in the world, although I take that under advisement because everyone claims to have the most powerful engine in the world. But, you know, it's not often that your products get to do in excess of 265 miles an hour. So we're very, very proud of that. That's us in a nutshell. The best answers probably come from questions. So I'd like to kind of pass it back to you guys, and then Phil and I will try and answer whatever questions you might have.
Okay, again, questions, just go down the chat button at the bottom of the Zoom screen, and you can type in whatever question you have for Perry and Phil. And I have a couple questions I brought here today, so I'll just start with mine. So if you were to kind of discuss common mistakes that racers make when it comes to wastegates and anti-lag valves, what's happening out there that should be fixed?
Common mistakes. You know, it's difficult because everyone goes racing with the best of intentions. But I think everything comes down to preparation, I think. You've got to check everything. You've got to check your equipment. You've got to check your tools. You've got to check your engine. The more you prepare, the better you're going to be. It's as simple as that in our opinion. For our products, well, we like to service them annually. We're very confident as to the life of them. We know that they can do 24 hours of Le Mans without any problems, which is the best part of 4,000 miles. So I'm happy they can do at least 4,000 miles between services. Some of our touring car wastegates have achieved 6,000 or 7,000 miles. So from a preparation point of view for us, definitely have regular services, and we can turn that around really quickly. We also have kits that we can supply, so you can do your own work. There will soon be videos online on the EPARTRADE portal and on our website showing how to service these components yourselves. But I guess the best thing is preparation. Preparation is everything. Mental preparation, physical preparation, your equipment. I guess that's the biggest thing for us.
Okay. Now I'll take a question from the audience. Would you have any applications that work with internal wastegates?
Not really. We did an actuator once for the Audi group, or the Volkswagen group, for use on a World Rally car. But no, everything we do is external wastegates. That's what we built the company on, and that's what we've always done. So that's the other thing we know: do what you're good at.
Yeah,
and
very
for
good.
us, we've seen a lot of internal wastegates, but it's not our area of expertise.
Okay. Another question from the audience. Just go down the chat feature and open that up and type something in, and we'll put it to the panel here. Are the wastegates dual port so that can be adjusted?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Okay, I'm just.
I mean, we can adjust. Yeah. Well, using the engine management system, we can control the flow to above or below the membrane with ease. That's no problem at all. So we do a springless wastegate, which has got a single port, but all of our wastegates, all of our standard wastegates you control it with air below the membrane and above the membrane. So depending on how you balance the two, you can play some pretty clever tunes with your wastegate.
Okay.
I hope
another question. Yeah. Would you please describe how the routing of the exhaust with anti-lag valve is plumbed?
Whoa. There's a million different ways of doing this, and a lot of them are trade secrets, which are very tightly guarded by manufacturers. The two ways of driving an ALS or an anti-lag valve is you've got to get your cold air from somewhere. So either you have it from a compressor, and that's brilliant because you can run any pressure you want, or you take it from the plenum. More and more series are now regulating that the air's got to come from the plenum. Obviously, there's a penalty with that because every time you activate your anti-lag, you're taking something away from your plenum. So yeah, either air from a compressor or from a plenum. For the outlet, you can either, where you're pushing the air back into your exhaust system, you can either have a single entry, or you can have multiple entry points. I'm trying to think of mine. No, I don't have a picture, but if you can get details, I can send some more information. There's also pictures on our website of different plumbing arrangements.
Okay. Another question from the audience. What do you think about electronic wastegates?
Yeah, it's definitely the future. We are working on one. The only reason we didn't put it on stuff that's coming up is because it's not at a stage where I want to say we're doing it. When we say we're doing something, we only say it when it's almost imminent, because otherwise you get a reputation for promising things you don't deliver, and don't want to do that. We are working on an electronic wastegate. There is no doubt it lets you manage your engine phenomenally cleverly and efficiently. There are downsides to it. One is temperature. You have to be very careful where you site all your electronics. But I do believe it is the future. It is a question I've been asked many times by privateers and OEMs alike. So I'm confident it's the right thing for us to be working on, but as I say, I don't want to promise anything yet. I do know some of our competitors have them, and they're doing a great job. There's no doubt, credit where credit's due. I also know that the guys in Indy are using electronic wastegates. So it's definitely the way to go long term.
Yeah, on the horizon, huh? And yeah. Is there a new product you'd like to highlight, like something new that came out that maybe not everybody's aware of, and just want to share that with us?
Well, the main new product are the anti-lag valves, because airflow is, it's all about airflow. The anti-lag valve basically controlling cold air, and the wastegate's controlling hot air. So I think the main products we want to highlight are the water-cooled wastegate and the large diameter anti-lag valve, mainly because those are our kind of, offerings for 2021. At this point, there will be more, but I'd like to highlight those, and I'm more than happy to send anyone information. Drop us a line from our website or through EPARTRADE, and we're more than happy to send you whatever information you need.
Okay. And then I'd like to just kind of get more insight about how you work with race teams. So I just picture you working closely with some professional race teams or many professional race teams to solve their technical challenges in this area, and then work with them to improve the products that you turn around and sell to other race teams. Describe that process.
Do you want to talk about it? I think it's all about a relationship. Everything we all do is about a relationship. Okay. I'm kind of the front man of the organization. Phil is a perfectionist who works in the shop and makes sure that everything that goes out is perfect. We work with, as I say, OEMs in Europe and in the Far East, and they will come to us with a "can you just," or we see we've got this product, can you do it but a little bit differently? And everything is a process, and we will change things. We will give it to them for evaluation on the dyno, and then if all goes well, it'll end up on the racetrack and it will win. I'm confident that our products will win championships. So, but it's like any relationship, a human relationship. It's just about communication at the end of the day, and it's give and take. You listen to what the customer wants, and I think that's the key thing. I alluded to that before. It's providing what the customer wants, as long as it's not compromising quality. As long as the customer gets what he wants, then that is the definition of quality and to last the race. So the process is ongoing. It's ever developing. Formula One is developing by the week. Other race series develop a little bit slower, but it is always continual evolution. And as I say, if you stand still, you're going backwards. Right. So it's just, everything is a process and it's continual. And the relationships we make, as Francisque said, I met Francisque in, the last year of PRI in Indianapolis. I mean, we're going back a while.
Yes.
And, the relationship has stayed since then. And it's just, you keep on talking and you find out what each other wants and you develop that way.
Very good. And then when it comes to racing technology, sometimes there's a thing that racers and race teams have to weigh where, okay, that's going to cost more money. Maybe we should save money there. And to me, this is a place that if you pay more, you get more. And this is not a place to save a buck. What do you think about that, Perry?
Yeah, everything is great saving money until it doesn't work, and you think, I should have spent the extra $5 or $10 or whatever the case might be. And as I alluded to, when you stop a race, when your components stop a race, I mean, what is the cost of that? It's everything. It's your reputation. It's your sponsors. It's pride. It's all sorts. It's the fans. Everyone involved is disappointed, and you kind of wish I'd prepared better. I wish we had some different elements on there. So after stopping everyone during practice in Long Beach, 1985, we will go out of our way to not stop, not stop a car. Now you have a triangle. One corner of the triangle, you've got quality. The other corner, you've got cost. And on the third one, you've got time. You can only ever have two of those. You can have low cost quickly, but the quality is going to suffer. You can have high quality, high cost. It's going to take a little time. You can have high quality and low time. It's going to cost a lot. So the point is, sometimes saving a little bit, when you're at the professional end of the scale, it doesn't pay off. The stakes are too high, for sure.
Very well said. That kind of brings us to a close with this time frame. We have another webinar coming up at 10:30. And that'll be Advanced Race Car Chassis and Shock Setup Technology by Intercomp Racing. Jeff Hammond will be hosting that. Perry and Phil, thank you so much for being part of Online Race Industry Week. Perry, any last comment before we move on?
This is a strange experience for every one of us in the world at the moment. One, just being stuck here. We're used to traveling around the world. I think what you guys are doing is amazing, genuinely. You know, it's like a trade show, but better, because it's easy. You don't have to walk miles and miles like around Orlando. So this is amazing. So yeah, really pleased, and yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I enjoyed that. Perry Combe, Phil Danbury with DSPS Engineering.
Registering on EPARTRADE is easy. Fill out your name, email, phone number, and create a secure password. Next, select your business type. Choose supplier if you're looking to display products or services and connect with buyers. Choose racing business if you're looking to find new parts and connect with suppliers. Choose race team if you own or are a member of a professional racing team. Begin typing your company name. We most likely already have your company in our database, which you can select from the drop-down. Then, enter your job title. Choose Claim Company if you'll be editing your company profile. Other members of your company can choose Join Company if they'd like to use EPARTRADE as well. You can view and agree to our terms of use here. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, choose Accept. Click Register Now, and your registration will be submitted for approval. You'll need to confirm your email once it goes through. To keep our platform industry only, you'll be approved shortly after. If we require additional proof of business, we'll reach out. Welcome to EPARTRADE.